I'm Edgar Salgado, REI from Houston, and I'm going to be talking to Mr. Nguyen about some sober living, co-living opportunities.
Yes, sir. Yeah, my name is Hien Nguyen. I'm a real estate investor from San Diego, but been living here in Houston for the last year and a half. Excited to learn what Edgar got going on for sober living.
Awesome, man. Welcome, and thank you for joining. I'm doing a sober living right now. It's my first one. I have an operator running in it, and they're pretty new, but they've actually been in recovery, working recovery business facilities for about 12 years now. And we recently got it stabilized, almost fully occupied.
Nice, dude. That's awesome. When it comes to sober living, what makes a sober living?
One thing is going to be vicinity to jobs that are going to hire felons because a lot of them
Um,
have been arrested and have a criminal history.
I
That's one
see.
thing. A little bit of public transportation helps. Some of the guys ride bikes. One of them rides an electric scooter, and then usually they'll ride together.
Got it. And then it's the guy who lives in the property that pay for your rent, or is there some kind of government programs out there?
So the ones that we have right now, they're not certified yet. Once they get certified, they can start getting government funds. There's a bunch of sponsorships that you can get, or like scholarships that they can get to cover the first month or I think up to 3 months of rent. I don't deal too much with it, but I have been listening to the operator talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the recovery center too, when they're done, they'll usually, once the people have reached their limit that they have to leave, they'll pay for a couple of weeks to get them started on their feet.
Got it. Okay. And with these sober living people, is each gets their own room or how does that work exactly?
So it depends. They're members.
Okay,
Um,
members.
and then you can do single rooms and then you charge a little more, or you can do shared rooms.
Oh,
Well, right now we're sticking at 650 for shared rooms and 800 for single rooms where we're at right now. I think we're starting to get a waiting list, so we may be able to start
wow.
raising the price because our operators have been doing really well.
Wow. How are you guys getting a waiting list? What's your source of lead for these people?
So the operator, because they've been working at the recovery center for a while, they know
Mhm.
a bunch of facilities. They've actually were probably a member of the facility at one time. So go
Right.
talk to them and tell them we have a house available and they'll schedule walkthroughs. So the facility will come check out the house and if they like it, they'll start referring members to us
Wow. Okay. And do you need like a special license or anything like that to run this?
to if you're not getting federal aid, no. Once you get certified, if you get certified, then yeah, then you can start getting federal aid, you know. So once you get that and my operator's working on it to start getting state funding, then yeah.
Okay. And how do you get certified? What exactly is the process?
I know there's a website they have to go through. They do a test. One thing is to check to see they're going to check the house that we have. So they certify each property. So you don't certify the operator, they certify the property, and the property just has to meet certain guidelines. Not so much accessibility, but you know, to be safe place for the people living there.
I see. So kind of like Section 8 guideline, for example.
I assume so. I haven't looked at too much into Section 8, but we don't have anything special. The house is there. Only thing we had to add recently was fire extinguishers,
Okay.
and then of course fire alarms we have to have in each of the
Right.
rooms. But
Right.
we don't have gas in the house, so I don't think it's required. If you have gas in the house, then yeah, it is required.
To have carbon monoxide alarm.
Correct.
That makes a lot of sense. That's exactly the same exact procedures with Section A as well. Like they need all of those things that you just mentioned. The water pressure has to be a certain way. No drainage issues. Everything has to work. The stove, the microwave, oven, everything has to work. That's kind of like the standard procedures for Section 8. I've done a few before.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you still doing Section 8, or did you step away from those?
I have two in Friendswood that I'm planning on doing Section 8, but Section 8 recently got hit really hard. I don't know if you saw, but the payment standards, at least for Houston Authority and affordable housing in Houston, the voucher got cut per per tier. So for example, I have houses that are tier A1, which is where the government will give you the most rent and the most coverage on that part of rent.
Wow.
So significantly, right? So, a lot before where a homeowner would choose to rent out to Section 8 tenants is because of that rent, right? They can get six, seven, 800 bucks more if they rent it out to a Section 8 tenant rather than a regular tenant. But now because of that amount that went down, a lot of landlords are just saying, like, why would I rent it out to Section 8 tenant? The process is longer, the requirement is harder. I should just go rent it out to a regular tenant. So
Wow. So that's gonna kill affordable housing as well in a sense.
yeah, I mean I think they're running out of money. I think that's what it is. I don't know if it's gonna change, but certainly if you follow a lot of groups on Facebook for Section 8, people are scared. Like people are freaking out.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
I didn't pay attention to it. There's just too many too many activities to try to follow. I have a W-2 as well, so that keeps me busy. And then operating. Like right now, we had a fence knocked down during Hurricane Barrel, so I got to order all the material, and tomorrow they're gonna start putting it together.
Yeah, same exact thing happened to some of our Airbnbs. So yeah, I get it completely. Okay. So, man, I want to do co-living because I know it sounds good, right? You're getting anywhere between 600 bucks a room.
This one's a month right now, 650 a month,
Oh,
per
650 a
shared.
month.
Yeah.
650.
But
Okay.
I've heard they told me the operators told me that some like celebrities will have kids and stuff like that, and they don't want them in a real public place, so they'll pay like 2,000 for a shared room.
Oh, it sounds simple enough.
Yeah, you
You
just
could,
got to find a good operator. We
yeah,
we originally I found one that was actually a sub two student as well, but they were remote and they talked a good game. I think they really wanted to do it. They had one house in Katy and one in LaPorte, and they said they had it filled, but I didn't do my due diligence on them and it just ghosted me. So I had to
mm,
scramble and look for these, and I found them by calling up other several living places and trying to rent out the house to them. And then they sent me to these people that were looking to start one. Well, they had already started one in spring and they were looking to start another one. So they liked the opportunity of the house that I have. There's different ways to do it. A lot of people would do a rent, just a regular lease, kind of like arbitrage, lease it
yeah,
out to them. But I know they were starting and the rent on that house is more expensive than others. So I did a profit split with them. First few months, I told them just whatever money comes into the members, that'll pay for mortgage. And once we have enough people to pay the mortgage and utilities, then I'll start doing a small cut. And after 6 months, if it's full, we'll go back and do a bigger cut for them.
I see. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Man, how can I help you to get more of these? Like, what exactly do you need? What are you looking for? Are you in acquiring mode right now? Where exactly are you at in your business?
I'd be partnering up because I did put a lot of money in this house when I bought it. I got it sub two. The entry fee wasn't much, but there was a lot of repairs, like 50K in repairs. It's a 3,700 square foot house, 7 beds, 4 full baths. So trying to recover that money still. I like
Yeah,
to get another property. The operator wants another property, but in the spring area. And even if there's HOA, it's not a problem. There's not much they can do. We actually had a town hall this last Monday because somebody in the HOA called the fire marshal on us.
oh
So that was a
shit.
bit scary because I hadn't dealt with it yet, and neither the operator. And they gave
Yeah,
us they talked to one of the members and they thought we were running a boarding house. And the fire marshal gave us a letter saying you have 72 hours to shut down or be in compliance. And we reached out to some advocates that helped us out, and they were dealing with the same thing in Sugarland. And they were able to send them a letter, basically the cease and desist that we are not a boarding house. Even though it's not a single family, we're still considered a single family house, and we
right.
can't be discriminated as you're running a business. Like, no, we're not running a business. It's a recovery center. So we had a town hall just to air out how the house is being run, the people that are being there, what rules they're going to be on there, what curfews. And it seems like 80% of the people were okay with it. It was about
Yeah,
20% that was still like thinking that we're going to cause their property values to drop down. It's like, no, not really. Nobody can really find that the house is doing that unless they're specifically looking for a sober living place and talks to the operator.
yeah,
Um, because it's all protected for fair housing. And then we tell them that we probably have more rules than you guys have for your own personal houses with
right.
all the people here. And then some people said, were asked, what about criminal background? Do they have a criminal history? Yeah, but we give people second chances and they've already done their time and, paid their
100%. Yeah.
fines, been in jail if they went to jail. And
Yeah.
then we actually had the fire marshal there and chief of police was there. He says there's been no calls since they've been there in April towards that house regarding that house or anybody in that house.
Wow.
Besides one person that jumped over the pool fence, that person's not there anymore. So some people are like, well, what if they're asking just odd questions? Like, what if one of them causes damage to one of our houses or this and that? It's like, well, same thing in your house. If you do damage to somebody, does the whole house get punished or that person get punished, you know?
Yeah. Dang, that's crazy. And how did they even find out that you're running a center in the first place?
I think one thing was on Facebook. Somebody opened up a Facebook and put the address there.
I see.
The original operator on Google Maps, when you see your map, you can see like people have their own businesses in the
Oh, yeah,
neighborhood.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
They
yeah.
put sober living on there. So I got
Mm.
it removed and then I got it removed from his website as well. But the Facebook still has that address on there. We're trying to find out who put it up so we can get it removed. So they were complaining too. It's like, why are they running a business? And then we had the state representative there. We had the city councilman there that said the law does not see the house as a business.
I
It's
see.
still considered single family, and those people have chosen their roommates to be their family.
That's cool, man. That's awesome. So right now you're only looking at Spring, Edgar? Are you looking at
So Springs
anywhere else?
the main portion because the two operatives live in that area, and then Crosby's actually can be a one for well, not just sober living for veterans. So anywhere between I think
What
Spring
about
down.
Baytown?
No, not yet. It was a good Airbnb just to do room rentals because you have a lot of refinery people. I used to work in the plants,
Right,
and a lot of people come from out of town. So
right.
there's a sub two member that's in North Carolina, I think, and they were trying to set up a sober living in Baytown as well, and they had same exact issue that I had. They ordered operator remotely, and it didn't work out. Then and now they put an Airbnb. They've been renting out the rooms and doing pretty well.
I got that deal I told you about in Baytown. It's a massive house. Shoot, you probably can put like 30 people in there if you really want to.
Right.
I don't know if that's something that would be interest to you guys at all, but I can definitely send that to your DM and you kind of let me know what we can do with it. It's a cash deal, but if it makes sense, we can always fix it up, refi it because it has so much room. Yeah, the main house is 6,000 and then the in-law suite is 1,700 square feet, 1,800 square feet. So it's like a 6 bedroom, 4 bath, and then a 3 bedroom, 2 bath. And it's sitting on an acre.
Would you be interested in partnering up? Like I said, the biggest thing for me right now is my funds. I did the knucklehead way, Pay says the knucklehead way. They use all
Yeah,
the money.
it's all your cash.
Yeah. Well, I knew the deal was tight. It's a 6% interest rate. The people that were living there before had 9 kids
Right. Wow.
and they
Shit.
wanted to move to Colorado. So I got the house for 7,000 at closing. It was hard to say no. I was like,
Right.
okay, I do my the cost seg on it and I can recover and probably give me floating for the first year and go from there, mess around and find out.
Well, okay. I wrote a ton of notes here. Um, if I do have something in the future, man, I want to get connected with you, and see if we can use co-living as an exit strategy. And
Yeah, for sure.
does it require your operator to live in the house?
No, they have a house manager that they find that's going to take responsibilities
I see.
and do that.
Got it.
So they have chores, curfews at 10:30 from Sunday through Thursday. Saturday and Sunday curfews 11:30, and then they're required to find a job.
Yeah.
And then parking's not too bad. We have 11 people, but only half, if even. I think there's 3 cars right now. At one time we had 6 cars, but the driveway was a single car lane,
Hmm.
so it was a little extra work, but they made it work.
I see. Cool. Awesome, man. So 8, 10 people is the cap. It's good connecting with you and I'm learning a lot from co-living. You're probably the first few people that are doing it. And if there's anything I can help, man, we flip, we wholesale a lot, we buy a lot too. If the deal makes sense for you or doesn't make sense for you and you want to sell it to me, I love to take a look at it And if I have an opportunity where I think it could be good for co-living, I love to partner up with you and do something together.
Fantastic, man. And it's Hien, is that right?
Hien, yeah.
Okay. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you,
We'll be
brother.
talking
Good
soon.
talking to you.